Welcome to r/Entitled People, where we share stories from your lives about people who think the rules don't apply to them, and they should get what they want. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel, and for so many likes. And today we have one great story, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. And today's first story is, the boss acted like an a-hole to the OP, who worked very hard. After the OP hurts the boss's fragile ego, the OP gets fired, but the OP is the one who won. On to the story. The boss that fired me almost 1 year ago to the day just called me and I didn't effing answer. He then texted me the following. Hey there, haven't spoken to you in a while. Hope you're well. I've got something going on that you might be interested in. Edit. To update with his second text and my response, I could have been more of a D, but I felt that being calm and professional while also still getting my digs in was the way to go. After all, the best revenge is to live well. HDIC. Hey yo, hope you're doing okay. So he opened his silver and buckle shop. Way more relaxed dress code. I need some help with this thing. Silver orders are a couple kilos a week right now and will only get bigger. I'm an a-hole and mistakes ought to cost me money, so I'm willing to pay you more. Huh? Me. Hey, sorry I didn't get a chance to get up with you today. Been a rough day. Me. I'll admit I'm a bit surprised to hear from you. I can't say that I disagree with your assertion there, unfortunately. Given the history, I'll have to respectfully decline your offer. Gotta appreciate those good things while you've got them and not after the fact. However, I don't harbor any ill will towards the crew, and I do hope that y'all continue to be successful. Me. Besides, I have a big deal dream job application in the works, and the process is close to being finalized, so it would be unfair of me to agree to a project in the meantime. It's a pretty exciting opportunity. Look forward to updating the masses when it comes through. Me. Good luck with your search. Hope you have a great 2022. Y'all, the nerve of this effing guy. I'm so shook right now and I just want to write it out here, hoping that maybe you folks will be able to commiserate with me. I apologize in advance for the length of this tale and I will include a TLDR at the end. So, the job. I worked at this man's small business doing highly skilled specialized labor. I'm going to refrain from mentioning the industry/job name, because although I hate this dude, I don't want his children to go hungry if the internet does a Google reviews smackdown on the business. I have 2 degrees, one of which is a master's, and a further specialized certification in my field that cost $12,000. At the time I was hired, I had 6 years of industry experience. Not a ton, but not none either. At the time I started, he had an older gentleman working for him. This guy, though very sweet with lots of community experience and knew lots of customers, to be quite frank, his work sucked. I mean, truly abysmal, making expensive mistakes that even the most basic technician should not have allowed to happen. I did what I could to suggest other ways of working, ways to streamline various aspects of the business and what tools to buy that would improve the workflow. Eventually, the old dude couldn't keep up and I felt bad for him, but I also was unwilling to let our work go out completed in a shoddy way. I never was mean to this guy or lorded anything over him, but I did point mistakes, etc. out to the boss, who shall heretofore be referred to as HDIC, head D in charge, because he needed to know about this guy's issues, as it would and did cause major customer issues and loss of revenue. Eventually, this old guy retired and it was just me doing all the hands-on labor and shop maintenance. Then the pandemic hit. Everyone was panicking, figuring out how to make things work. I was so committed to trying to make things work that I told the HDIC & Co. that if I needed to work a couple weeks and have my pay delayed until they got their PPP distribution, that I was willing to do so. That is how much I cared. I poured everything into not only doing my work, but also being directly customer-facing because HDIC and his wife didn't want to be in the store waiting on customers and didn't want to hire more people. So a few more months go by and I'm doing my best to run the shop on my own, but it's not easy, especially with constant interruptions and having to do sales in addition to the actual labor. Not to mention trying to figure out how to run the show on your own with no guidance at all was difficult, as I had more industry experience than HDIC had by a long shot. I would also get major pushback ordering supplies so we could have items on hand for customers in order to improve turnaround time. He would also get really SH product from his cousin in the biz, products that were so crappy I'd spend an inordinate amount of time repairing them before they could even be sold. Well, things kept getting more tense. HDIC would have wildly variable moods. I mean, I have an anxiety disorder and recently diagnosed ADHD, so I can totally empathize with that. However, I've been seeking treatment for those issues, and not just letting them fester. But with this guy, you never know what you get. One day he would be so happy, in such a great mood. We will open a second store, yada yada. 2 days later he would come in, everything would be doom and gloom. Woe is me, we're broke, I hate customers, etc., etc. It would have a noticeable effect on the staff, myself included. just came across as either very manic or so morose he couldn't function. The new employee. Eventually, we hired another employee for the same role as me. I was super enthusiastic about this, as this employee, NG for new guy, had tons of industry experience, 47 years versus my 6 years, and he was incredibly good at his job and his work was excellent. We had different political views and other outlooks on life, but we were still quite cordial, and I enjoyed working with him and learned as much from him as I could. So obviously with his experience level, NG commanded a higher wage. I understood this, but I also knew that it was likely my boss was going to not enjoy paying out so much more in salary. I was making $20 an hour. I also commuted 1.5 hours round trip on tiny backwoods highways to get to work. There was also no insurance and no sick leave. I got 5 days paid vacation that year. New guy was getting paid $35 an hour, and one of the conditions of his hiring was that he would get 3 weeks vacation a year. Okay. Once HDIC was paying out this salary to NG, that's when the problems really escalated. Suddenly, nothing I could do was good enough. I wasn't working fast enough, not producing enough, and I was beat at for being on my phone. Despite the fact that much of the time I was on my phone looking up parts to order for customer orders from our various suppliers, as it was faster than using the catalogs. Threats. One day, first thing in the morning, HDIC told me to come in the back with him so we could talk. He told me that my phone use has become a problem, and that he asked one of the guys who owns a store with an operation similar to ours that he knows on one of the industry forums we all belong to, how he would handle an employee being on their phone too much. According to HDIC, this business owner told him that he would take their phone away and throw it at a wall. Mind you, HDIC is a man who has over a foot and probably 100 pounds on me. I'm short and female. Additionally, I had very recently had to break up with my fiance, who also was a foot taller and bigger than me, because he physically assaulted me. It was so bad I thought my ribs were broken and had to go to the hospital to get checked out. HDIC knew about this as I had to miss a day of work. I was still very much suffering from PTSD and intense bouts of fear after the assault, and this was compounded by the fact I had to go to court for an order of protection against my ex. So when he said that and had me alone in the back room and was essentially telling me he's going to take my $900 phone and hurl it at a wall, I was so freaked out I didn't even stand up for myself. I went into quiet panic freakout mode with a mental script that went something like, oh God, he's angry, oh God, what's he gonna do next, oh God. Just don't make him angry, just be small and say you're sorry. After he left the store, I went to the bathroom and shook for a few minutes to regain my composure. Rather than air this where customers could hear, I texted the store manager from the bathroom what HDIC had said and told her, if this man tries to put a hand on me or makes any attempt to destroy my property, I'm going to the police and he's gonna have a lot bigger problems than an employee who's supposedly on their phone too much. I feel physically threatened and intimidated, and this is absolutely unacceptable. After that, HDIC's wife comes down to the store and is really kissing my A, trying to apologize he would never do that, etc., etc. Things just got worse from there. Mo money, mo problems. The next big issue happened regarding bonuses HDIC stated he would pay us employees. Myself, NG, store manager, and one sales girl. At 10K sales for the week, we would each get $100 cash. At 12K, another $100. At 15K, another $100. This was not written down anywhere, but okay, fine, I'll take you at your word. We got paid one round of bonuses, but then the goalposts started to move. Oh well, this week is a short week, we can't do it this week. After a time, HDIC changed his mind and said bonuses would now be given at 10K, 15K, and 18K, and if we went above 18K, we could talk about more. Okay, kinda BS to just change it up mid-year and not even at the end of a year or quarter or whatever, but okay. The final straw for me was after an event we held that allowed a third-party vendor to come in and do a store takeover. This means we would allow this vendor to set up only their products, and we would do the promotion for the event and split the profits. Okay, cool. So in one day we sold 35K of goods. I was pumped. Extra $300 cash that I really needed. Boy, was I wrong. When HDIC paid us bonuses, it was only $200. Keep in mind, this was like the third or fourth time we were supposed to be paid a bonus according to whatever levels he had said he would pay out, but that he had welched on paying. So I asked him what was up with that and how come it wasn't $300 plus. He was very snippy and dismissive with me. Basically said I set the bonuses and I'll pay them when I please. Like, okay, if you had said I'll peel off some hundos from the giant wad I keep in my pocket at all times and give them to you guys whenever I please, that would have been one thing. His business, his rules. But that's not what he said. And I feel that in business you make a verbal agreement. By gods, you stick to it. Otherwise, everything goes sideways. He was so dismissive and with such an attitude that I started to see red. When HDIC left the store, I went to the sales lady and said to her, okay, please confirm if I just heard everything he said correctly. She got a resigned, frustrated look and confirmed that I had. So that's when I'm talking with her and saying, this is BS. This is not what we agreed to. How is it that we make him $37K in a day and he can't stick to the bonus structure? I then said, actually, I do know the problem. And the problem is that HDIC is greedy. A few minutes after I said that and was back at my work desk working, HDIC comes screaming in on two wheels to the parking lot and storms in to continue talking to me about the bonus issue. Apparently, he had been monitoring the security cameras, which unbeknownst to all of us were also recording sound. There wasn't even a camera close to where I was when I was talking, so the audio recording equipment must have been decently sensitive. He was listening to the live feed because he knew I was peeved and that I would talk about it. There were no customers in the store when I was discussing it, of course. I said to him that I meant what I'd said, and that if he doesn't want to keep his word, then I accept that, but that he shouldn't expect me to be happy about it. Big boss angry. A month later, their issues with my performance continued to mount, and I was pulled into the office by HDIC's wife and the store manager to discuss my performance issues. Never once before had I been given a quota of labor to hit, but I was told at this meeting I was not meeting the quota and that my job was in jeopardy. I pointed out that I'd never been given a quota, and that doing things like repairing crappy new product made by HDIC's cousin and waiting on customers when I should have been working were also affecting that. They also wrote me up for being insubordinate to the boss about the bonuses, even though I did not curse at him or raise my voice. I was told to basically shape up or ship out. I'm sure you can see where this is going. I started to keep a meticulously detailed log of all my work, down to the 5-minute increments during the day. I kept a running log of the labor I was producing to ensure that I was close to the required amounts. Regardless, last year on New Year's Eve, HDIC's wife and store manager informed me that they would no longer need my services. I was understandably upset, as I'd been keeping my logs and knew I was hitting goals. HDIC's wife said that the computer logs said otherwise, and she wouldn't even look at what I had written down. In effect, I was being called a liar, in addition to an SH employee. I was so upset I started to cry and begged them to reconsider, as I really needed a job. She refused and basically told me, bye, see you never. Schadenfreude. I spent 4 months on unemployment and only survived because my state was still doing the extra pandemic money. I ended up getting a remote work-from-home customer service job that actually paid more than the store job, when taking into account lack of commute, benefits, etc. And now I had bad A health insurance, and no more commute. Things kept trucking along this year, and I was notified by a friend of an opening at one of the most prestigious educational institutions offering programs of study in my field. My original goal was to be a professor, but tenure track jobs are hard to come by. Long story short, after 2 phone interviews, the school flew me out and I did an exam, presented a lecture, and did a panel interview. Not only was I given an offer of employment, but I also successfully negotiated 10% higher salary and a $5K moving expenses reimbursement. So in a month, I'm going to be moving across the country to live in a beautiful place doing my dream job and getting paid 2.5 times more money than I've ever made in my life. At HDIC, I did some recon and called NG and asked if he knew what HDIC wanted. Apparently, HDIC has expanded the business to include a wholesale segment that's selling a couple of niche-type products and is likely tired of doing the work himself and wants to hit me up for help. The difference in my skill set to what he would be wanting me to do is like asking a master painter to produce a bunch of color-by-number coloring book pages with a box of broken Rose-Art crayons. Not that I'm a master, but that's just to illustrate the difference. How effing insulting. I was very cordial and replied to HDIC's text and said I hope him and fam had a good holiday and that I'd call him tonight at 7. F that, I'm ghosting him harder than an SH Tinder date. See you never, B. Know your value, never give up. Thanks for watching, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.